Hey guys, so last we left off, I was in Pakbeng, which is a little teeny tiny sleepy nothing village on the bank of the Mekong River in Laos. And my new friends and I had gotten a hostel, and we were looking forward to continuing our journey down the Mekong the following day. So that's exactly what we did. We got up the next day, and a lot of places in Laos, especially this Pakbeng village and Luang Prabang, where we were headed, were colonized by the French for a long time. So there's a lot of French influence. So in the morning, we were able to get up and go to this lovely French bakery and get croissants and delicious Lao coffee, which the coffee in Southeast Asia all has a very similar theme. It's all really strong coffee, very earthy flavored coffee, and they mix it with like condensed milk, powdered milk, and something else. So it's super like thick, syrupy, light coffee, and it's extremely sweet. It's really good. Lao coffee takes the cake. It is by far my favorite because they grow their own coffee in Lao, and it's supposed to be some of the best in the world, and it's organic and it's delicious and fresh. So we had our Lao coffee and our bakery croissants, and then the next day on the boat was actually better than the first day because all you had to do was show your ticket, and then you could just pick whatever seat you want instead of having assigned seats like it had been before. And it was first come, first serve. So we got to the boat so early that we got really good seats. We all got to sit together, and we actually ended up picking up these three Italian people, Martina and her boyfriend Andre and his brother Daniel. So then we became a motley crew of seven, and we all sat together, and it just became a party boat. We had so much fun just talking and laughing and taking turns taking naps on each other's laps and stuff. Like, I fell asleep and drooled on Mariella's shoulder. Like, I let her sleep in my lap. Like, we were just kind of lazing around, eating our snacks, enjoying the view. And as beautiful as the Mekong was the first day, it was even more breathtaking the second day. There were these great like rock formations growing up, like coming right up out of the water with lush jungle growing on them, and the little villages like along the banks and everything. It was great. So we made it to Luang Prabang around 4:30 or 5, and the very first thing that happened was we got a tuk-tuk into the city center, and it dropped us off across the street from an eye clinic. So I had promised my mom that I would go to an eye doctor as soon as humanly possible, even though I already had those little drops. So the rest of the crew wanted to go door to door to different hostels and guest houses asking for prices and to see if they had room for all of us, which to me was a little bit stressful. That's kind of not how that's not the pattern that I'm in now. Like, now my new thing that I have figured out from doing all this is when you get off the bus or the train or the boat, the first thing you do is you go to an ATM and take out some money in that country's currency if you haven't already. Find a SIM card for your phone if you haven't already so that you can access the internet, and then go to a little cafe that has Wi-Fi or something and have a beer or a coffee and sit down and look at reviews online of the hostels in the area. So you figure out like where in the city you want to be, right? Like, do I want to stay near the night market? Do I want to stay near the lake? Do I want to stay near the mountain? So that you can walk from your hostel to the place that you're interested in. And then you find a hostel in that neighborhood that has good reviews and is a decent price and doesn't have bed bugs. And then you book it and then you go there. That's been my sort of researcher's take on how to do this. But not Sierra and her gang. No, they don't use their phones for anything. They just go door to door and talk to people, and it's like, it was stressful. So they wanted to like split up the group and go on this one street back and forth just asking around. And I was like, I'm gonna sit this one out. Like, I'll let you guys handle it. I'm gonna let go and let you guys handle it, and you can report back to me when you find a good place. I am gonna go to the eye clinic. So that is what I did. And they said that the eye drops that I had were exactly what they would have prescribed. They said that it's fine, it's just ugly, and it will go away in a week or two. That if I do have any irritation or issues or anything, to, schedule another appointment with another eye doctor. And the whole thing cost me $5. So it was a $5 visit. Yeah. So I was like, cool. I'm not going to put in a claim on my travel insurance for that one. But when I came out of the eye clinic, my crew was gone. Sierra, Freddie, Mariella, Martina, Andre, Daniel, no sign of any of them anywhere. I popped my head into every single hostel all up and down the street, could not find them. And immediately, because I'm an anxious, horribly insecure person, I was like, they ditched me. They hate me. My eye is ugly, I have a cold sore, and I'm weird, and they hate me. They ditched me. So I gave up on them. I was like, all right, that's cool. Like, all good things must come to an end. I guess I will explore the city on my own. No biggie. Kind of sad. Spent the next few hours thinking about all the things that make me a horrible person and why they would hate me enough to just leave me. And so I ended up booking a hostel the way I wanted to do it. I looked online and I found a place really close to the night market, which is my jam, and it was a great hostel. It was really nice, and the lady that ran it was really nice. So I went to the hostel, put my stuff down, and like immediately went right over to the night market because the night market starts around sunset, and so it was like perfect timing. So I went to the night market, I bought some souvenirs, I got a necklace, and then I did the food thing. And in Luang, Prabang, you are supposed to try the barbecue. They are known for their barbecue. They just put stuff between two chopsticks, like they squeeze meats between two chopsticks and then wrap like little bamboo or whatever reeds around each end so that they pinch it together, and then they grill it with some kind of seasonings and marinades and stuff. And oh my God, is it good. I ate like an entire fish. It was like a big fish, like head, fins, tail, and all. Like they do not stand on ceremony. They just pinch it between the skewers and they put it on the thing, and then they salt it, and it's got lemongrass stuffed in its belly, and they serve it over a big plate of sticky rice, and you just dig in with your fingers. You just like gut this thing and just eat it and put the bones on the plate, and oh my God, it was so good. And the pork was so good. Oh my God. What else? I ate awesome, amazing things. So good. Dumplings, the pork dumplings were really good. Super spicy sauce, but I nailed it. I killed it. So as I'm stuffing my face, like eagerly, super excited, and just like making conversation with random people around me because I felt so good and so happy to just be sitting there and eating this stuff in this lovely, wonderful place. My crew came up behind me, and like each of them were like, "Chrissy, we found you!" Like they started hugging me and like patting my head and like, we found you, and like, we lost you. And I'm like, I thought you guys ditched me. They did not ditch me. They didn't hear me when I said I was going to go into the eye clinic. They thought I ditched them. Misunderstanding. Totally fine. So we ended up spending the rest of the evening together, except like we went out and grabbed more food at the night market. We walked around a little bit, and then Sierra, Freddie, and Mariella wanted to call it an early night. So they went in, but the Italians wanted to go to the bar in Luang Prabang. There's a ton of bars, but there's this one giant bar on the river. There's a big terrace built like 5 stories over the river, and the bar itself has all these different sections, and it's owned by this Canadian gentleman. He knows what he's doing, because it's laid back and chill. It's not like it's like a place you hang out and go with your friends, and it's decorated nicely, and they have these performers doing acrobatics in one corner and another one doing swinging poi in the other, and just good music playing, but not super loud and obnoxious, like no one's dancing. There's pillows all over the floor, and there are like low tables, and you sit on the ground on these like pillows, and you talk with your friends, and you overlook the Mekong, and it was just really fun. It's called Utopia. The bar is called Utopia. And then at sunrise, they do yoga on that big platform overlooking the river. And then they have something else too that they do. It's just, they've got the formula down. I actually had a really good time. I was kind of, when we walked in and I saw how busy it was and all the lights and all the stuff, I was kind of like, I'm a little old for this. It's a little late. I don't know. But I had such a great conversation with the Italians because they wanted to practice their English. Martina speaks very good English. Andre's pretty good. And then his brother Daniel is still learning. So, yeah, we just had a really fun conversation. It was neat talking about the differences between our countries and all the kinds of foods that we like. And Martina was telling me like her life story, and she's really funny. At one point, she and I were laughing so hard about about what videos and photos they're going to show at our funerals that we almost peed ourselves. Like, I almost peed myself. It was hilarious. I had so much fun. And then we went back to our hostels. Everything closes in Luang Prabang at 11. The latest that any bars stay open is 11. So they kicked us out at 11. Went back to my hostel, went to sleep. The next morning we got up and Sierra found this breakfast place where we ate in this like tree house, like a loft. And again, it's like low tables and pillows on the floor. You sit around and the server climbs up a ladder with your food. The food was so good. I had something called a Lao farmer's breakfast, and it's just fried eggs and a big container of sticky rice. They put it in this this like woven basket that's shaped sort of like a can with like a lid on it, and you pull it off, and it's just delightful to pull that off and have the mound of sticky rice sort of start to tumble out around on the plate. And then the best part is it's served with a big bowl of this spicy eggplant stuff, like a tapenade almost. They call it a dip, but it's not, it's thicker than a dip. And again, you eat it with your fingers. So you pick up a thing of sticky rice and you mush it around in the tapenade and the dip, and then you like pick up a piece of egg with it and you just shove the whole thing in your mouth, and it's so good with that Lao coffee. Oh man. And then we ordered a side of apple crepes and a side of chocolate banana crepes to share for the table, and just everything was exquisite. And it was so fun sitting up in that treehouse and looking down on the street with all like the tree branches around us. It was really fun. And then we went right from there to the tuk-tuk that we had booked to take us to the two waterfalls. We went first to the Tad Sea waterfall, which is a little, it's not as large, but you can do more there. It's really crazy. It's just, it keeps going and going and going. There's so many levels to it. And at the bottom of each of these, they're short falls, but they're wide. At the bottom of each one is a pool of this like aquamarine water. The water is not reflecting the sky. It's naturally an aquamarine color because of the minerals in it. It's like murky. It's not clear. You can't see through it. It just looks magical in the jungle with like flowers blooming and butterflies everywhere, and they have built bridges and stairways and rope swings and stuff. We played there for hours like little kids. Like we just swam in the falls and enjoyed the sunshine and chased butterflies. It was awesome. Like Freddie was climbing up trees like Mowgli, and we were jumping off the falls into the water. So fun. And then the other one is the I forget what it's called. Quang Si, I think, is the other waterfall. And that's the spectacular one that all the tourists go to. It's enormous. It's huge. Again, it has several levels, and you can climb up the hillside to each one, depending on your level of, you know, how in shape you are. Your level of dedication, I guess I should say. I was not quite dedicated enough to go all the way to the top, but I made it about halfway to the largest of the falls, and I took some gorgeous photos. I did not, however, have time to swim there. I had to catch a flight, so I was already sort of pressed for time, and I didn't realize that at the second waterfall, at that big spectacular one, they also have a bear sanctuary where they rescue bears from China and rehabilitate them. There was one bear that was like missing a leg, and he was so brave and so strong, and I just loved him. I forgot all about the waterfall. I was not even ready to walk up to the waterfall. As soon as I saw all these moon bears, they have like that, you know, they're black and they have the white moon on their crest. All of them climbing around in their little tree houses with their tire swings, like hanging out and just being bears. Like, I spent way too long there. And then I went up to see the waterfall. It was spectacular, just as promised. And then I had to go. I looked at the clock and I'm like, oh no, like my flight leaves at 7. It's 5 now. And it's going to take an hour to get to town. I have to still grab my backpack from the hostel and then another half hour to the airport, like cutting it close. So I said goodbye to my friends real quick. I ran back down to the parking lot, and I realized that every single tuk-tuk there was already booked because all the tuk-tuks had brought everyone up there. The mountain is really, the waterfall is really far from town. So it's not just like random tuk-tuks hang out waiting for random people to bring back. No, they're all spoken for. None of them would take me back to the town. I was like, fuck. So as I'm standing there in the middle of the parking lot, literally just going, fuck. Like some dude was like, what's up? I think he was Irish or maybe Australian, this guy. What's up? And I told him my problem, and he was like, oh, just catch a ride with the locals. And I'm like, what? And he points, and there's a couple of like random cars parked amongst the tuk-tuks and the tour vans. he's like, yeah, if you have to go right now, like just ask one of these local people if they'll bring you. So he went over and had a conversation with this really nice Laotian family. It was like a mom, a dad, two sons, and a little baby. And they had a pickup truck. And he was like, she has to fly. She has a plane to catch. Can she get in your truck and go down the mountain with you? You know, and they were like, okay. So they let me get in the back of their pickup truck and ride all the way down the mountain. And a little ways down, one of them called somebody that they knew who spoke English and put me on the phone. So I explained, like, if they can just get me to the night market, I can get to my hostel and grab my backpack and go to the airport from there. I'm not asking them to bring me to the airport. And he was like, oh, they thought you were trying to get to the airport. I'm like, no, they don't have to bring me to the airport. Thank you, though. So they raced down the mountain. They passed every single vehicle on the road in front of us. Like, the driver was serious about getting me where I needed to go. It was really sweet. And then he finally got me like right near the night market, which was awesome. And I was like, can I pay you? Like, can I give you some money? And his sons were like, no, just go. So I was like, wow, thank you. So that was really nice. Made it to my hostel, grabbed my backpack, booked a taxi, rushed to the airport, got to the airport exactly 45 minutes before my flight was supposed to take off, ready to go through immigration, look up at the sign, and my flight is delayed an hour and 15 minutes. And I'm like, of course it is. But it was great because while I was waiting for the flight, I went to a little cafe to have some coffee while I waited, and I ran into this lovely girl from Denmark named Fanny. And then she and I bumped into another girl from America named Irina. So the three of us like quickly like paired up and became pals. So we, went through the whole customs thing together. We rode the flight together. I actually ended up just randomly, just coincidentally sitting next to Irina on the plane. So she and I got to chit chat the whole time. It was only an hour and 10-minute flight. So at 5 p.m. I was in Luang, Prabang at a beautiful waterfall. And by 10 p.m., I was in Hanoi, Vietnam, with a whole new set of friends. I had a little mix-up with my visa when I got to the airport, though. It's a long story. It was fine. I got through, but I had to stand in two different lines, and I hadn't realized I had to do that. So Rena and Fanny went through without me, fully expecting me to come right out after them because we were all in line together. And when I didn't come out for like another 90 minutes, they gave up on me and left. But I knew which hostels they were staying at, so I ended up booking one right next to them, and I ran into them on the street where their hostels were, so we ended up having a couple beers together. By the time we got there and got settled and everything, though, everything was closed. Like, Hanoi also is a early city. So there was really no place for me to eat, which made me really disappointed because I was super duper looking forward to pho. Like, Hanoi is supposed to have some really good pho. I ended up getting like a cup of noodles and sitting in the dining area of my guest house and eating noodles. But it was cool because there was a ton of people up doing stuff, hanging out, so I got to chit-chat with some people. But I told Fanny and Rena goodbye because I didn't know what I was going to do the next day. So I went to bed pretty late. That was last night. Then today, I'm cramming all these days into one video. Thanks for paying attention. Today, I got up pretty late, actually. It was nice. I got up at 9 a.m. Breakfast was free, served at my guest house until 10, so I made it down for breakfast. Had a nice fried eggs and a baguette and some bacon and some Vietnamese coffee, which was good, but it's no Lao coffee. And one of the managers that works at the guest house is from Texas. And she was asking me about, my plans for the rest of my stay in Vietnam. And I told her, and she was like, that's not going to work. So she actually sat with me from 10 o'clock in the morning until 1 o'clock this afternoon in front of her computer, helping me to make a realistic plan for the rest of my time here in Vietnam, and then book the tickets and everything that I needed to make sure it happened. So I ended up booking a bus from Hanoi to Halong Bay. It's 3.5 hours. And you have 3 options when you book a bus there. You can do like the VIP thing, which is like $100. You can do the tour thing, which includes a tour of Halong Bay, but they're all 2-day cruises, and I don't have 2 days to spend here. Or you can take a bus that all the locals take, all the native people of Halong Bay, the people that have like never left this area in their lives. And that bus is cheap and it's fast. It was $4. So I booked it. And I made it to the bus station. Nobody spoke English. I was the only white person there. A lady behind the ticket counter was very helpful. She wrote down 5:20 on my ticket, and she was like, "This time you be here." So I went and waited. When it was 5:20, I came back and found her, and she like took me by the hand and led me out back to where my bus was and made sure I got on the right bus and spoke to the driver for me. Really kind. So I got on this bus, and I'm the only white person on the bus. I'm the only English-speaking person on the bus. Everyone is staring at me. I'm all by myself. And suddenly I'm like, I don't belong here. What was I thinking? Like, I'm by myself, and I'm going 3.5 hours out of town. We're driving through nothing, you know? Like, Hanoi is a busy, bustling city. It's a really cool place. I wish I had more time to spend there. I didn't know it was going to be so awesome. It's just like Ho Chi Minh City, only more earthy, more grounded. It's really fun. And we're going as far away from that, like it's just way behind us, and there's nothing for miles. We're just like on this freeway, and there's like, you know, little tiny towns and villages that are like there. And I'm like, I'm just stuck on a bus, and I don't know which stop to get off at. It has like 5 stops listed, and I just know that Halong Bay is called by Bay Chai or something. So I finally like was getting nervous after like hour 3 because I knew it was supposed to take 3.5 hours. So I went to ask the bus driver, like, can you tell me when we're at the Bay Chai stop? And this nice like teenage boy in the front was like, oh, you speak English. And I was like, you speak English? And he's like, I thought you were Russian. I didn't want to talk to you because I don't know Russian, but I do know English. So I'm like, I'm looking for Halong Bay. And he's like, oh, I'll tell you when your stop is up. I'm not going there. I'm going to the next stop, but I'll tell you when it's your stop. So then he wanted to practice his English with me. He was like, tell me what you think of Vietnam. Tell me what you think of the traffic in Vietnam. Tell me what you think of the food in Vietnam. So we had a little chit chat back and forth. It was pretty cute. And then he was really helpful. He showed me where my stop was. And then he even told me how much a taxi should be from where I got off the bus to where I was going. Like, he looked at the map on my phone and was like, oh yeah, you want to go here, and it should only be 70,000. And of course the driver tried to charge me 120,000, and I was like, nope, I got the inside scoop. So I paid 70. I finally make it to my hostel, and it's cool. This place is cool. It's a big building with several floors. And the first floor is like reception, and then there's a whole travel agency because they know why you're here, you know, to see the islands, to see Halong Bay. The second floor is like a bar and a dining area, and then there's pool tables, and there's a bunch of people down there like hanging out. There's music playing. Everyone's having a great time. I haven't gone to explore it yet because I actually have a 4-bed dorm right now, but I happen to be the only person in it. I don't think anyone else has booked this dorm for tonight. If they have, they haven't come in and put any of their stuff down because everything's untouched. So I may have this room to myself tonight, fingers crossed. So I figured real quick I would wash all my underwear and my bathing suits in the sink because I wore my bikini to the waterfalls yesterday. And, you know, I just was like, oh, I've been swimming and sweating in this thing all day. I should wash it. So I washed my bikini and my underwear, and then I used my 10-foot long phone charger cord as a clothesline. I strung it up between 2 chairs here in the room and just hung up all my underwear to dry. So I hope no one else comes in because they're gonna see all my unmentionables. But like I need underwear. Also, it is cold here. Hanoi is cold. Halong Bay is cold. I had no idea it would get this cold. I was just in Luang, Prabang, where it was like 90 degrees and sunny, and we were sweating. And then as soon as I get off the plane in Hanoi, I'm like, it's not see your breath cold, but it's close, especially after being in that hot weather for so long. So I'm wearing the only warm weather outfit I have, which is jeans, a tank top, and my sweatshirt. And I'm going to have to wear this for the remainder of my time here in northern Vietnam. So I figured I'd take the opportunity to do a little bit of laundry. since the stuff I'm in is going to end up being pretty stinky and I'm going to need to do like the big stuff later. I will need to drop this stuff off probably, I don't know when I'll get to. Probably in Moine, when I get to Moine, which is my next stop. I'll have to leave it because it usually takes 24 hours. Yeah, so I need to do laundry, but I was like, okay, I can't wait on the underwear thing anymore. Like, that's got to get done. So you know, you find a way, you persevere, you see it through, you do what you have to do, and you end up having a great time. So tomorrow I will get up at 6 a.m. Breakfast is served at 6:30, and then the shuttle bus picks us up here at 7:45 for like a day-long cruise, complete with lunch and a mini kayaking tour off the boat of Halong Bay, which is the Bay of 1,000 Islands. It's the one that you think of when you think of Vietnam, right? It's the green water and the boats with the big red fan sails, and then those like tons and tons of rocky emerald islands with the trees and forests growing out of them. It's that. I was not going to miss it. Like I said, most of the tours that you book are super expensive 2-day cruises. This is $28 and it's from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., which is perfect because I have to catch that same bus, the local bus. I have to catch that from here back to Hanoi at 6 o'clock tomorrow evening, but it's fine because the tour will get over at 4, and the booking agent lady downstairs already told me that she would make sure the driver knew that I had to be here at 5 at the latest, so he's gonna bring me here, which is nice. And then I'll take a taxi from here to the bus stop, and then I'll take the bus back to Hanoi, and then I will stay the night in Hanoi tomorrow, and then I have a flight that leaves super early the next day to go to Moine, which is where the warm, white, sandy beaches are, and that is how I want to end my trip, just relaxing on a beach for a couple of days and not worrying about buses or trains or sketchy cab drivers or weird people or bed buggy hostels. Like, I'm done with the adventure portion and I want to just sit on a beach with a drink in my hand. I will go get a manicure and a pedicure and a massage and maybe even a tattoo. And then I will relax until it's time to leave for Boston again. So anyway, this is officially Thanksgiving. I missed it. I'm sorry. I've run into several Americans today who have told me Happy Thanksgiving. They all seem a little teary-eyed. I'm okay with it. I'll be home for Christmas, don't worry. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Sorry this video was so long. I had a lot of catching up to do. I'm super excited that I made it here. I'm really excited about tomorrow. I just had to spill it all at once while it was all still sort of fresh in my mind. I love you guys. I miss you. Happy Thanksgiving.